Paradise Media.
This week's episode is a story filled with betrayal, violence, mystery, and it is one that still lingers today. So sit back and join me as we discuss the chilling events leading to the 1906 murder of Grace Brown with a special guest. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Truly Twisted. As always, I'm your host, Alecia Watson, and every Thursday I will be bringing you a true story that is always victim-focused and fact-based. Today, I have a special guest with me, so it won't just be my voice you're hearing. I would like to welcome Tara from Three Spooked Girls and Social Séance Society to the chat. Thank you so much for joining me today as the first ever guest co-host of Truly Twisted.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I always have so much fun recording with you, and I'm so excited to talk about this story today.
Yes, it is gonna have a little more spice than our listeners are used to, given that we have two of us here today, and we think that everything both of us will have to say as the story unfolds will resonate quite highly with most of our listener base. This guy sucks. But before we get into that, Tara, do you just want to introduce yourself and a little bit about your show to my new listeners, as this is a new podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the co-host of two shows, Three Spooked Girls. We are a true crime and paranormal podcast. This year, for 2025, we are in our recap era. So we're doing a lot of documentaries, docuseries, things like that, along with urban legends. And then we have our second show, which Alecia and Sierra had joined us during season 1, Social Séance Society. We basically are a table talk show. We talk about the horrors of the real world and also the horror genre and anything weird and spooky. And once a month, we also do hot topics, can be anything in pop culture, and that show is seasonal, but it is coming back in May, so definitely check it out.
And I love that you said that you guys are in a season of recaps, because I swear every streaming platform has been bringing it with new content lately.
Oh
It's
my God.
all stuff that I really want to watch and talk about, so I'm glad somebody is doing it. That, and it allows me to listen and know what's happening listening to your show without having to go and watch the documentaries right now, because I have zero
Yeah.
free time. So I love it. You and Jess have very good banter and very good opinions about what those shows entail. So
Thanks.
I highly recommend their show for anyone that is looking for a fun, feeling like you're sitting with your besties kind of episode. So, anyways, thank you for being here. Tara, as I mentioned, I have a story for you today that is equal parts true crime and absolutely heartbreaking, but with a paranormal bookend, which obviously made you the perfect co-host to cover this with. So, our story today begins in the summer of 1906 in the beautiful Adirondack Mountains in the big town of Big Moose Lake. It was a picturesque place surrounded by trees, still clear waters. It's a perfect setting for a romantic getaway. But it would soon become a place forever linked to tragedy and would shake the community there to its core. Grace Brown was a 19-year-old woman from Gloversville, New York. She had grown up on a dairy farm and then went to work at a fairly renowned factory in Portland known as the Gillette Skirt Factory. She led a modest life, but everything would change when she met Chester Gillette. Chester was 23 at the time and an ambitious, charming man, and of course he was a Nepo baby being of the Gillette name. He was the owner's nephew. Grace and Chester would become involved in a secret affair, emphasis on secret as he came from a wealthy family and she was a lowly factory worker. That, and he was also having affairs openly with other women. He had zero regard for Grace's feelings.
Such a
And
fuck boy.
please jump in at any time.
Okay.
Yeah, fuckboy, exactly. I think he was the original fuckboy, perhaps.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, if any of my listeners can think of one before 1906, please let me know. But
Mm-hmm.
Grace remained hopeful, though, that they had a real relationship, and she went to great risks to be with him. He convinced her to meet with him without a chaperone, which was not of the times, but he didn't want anyone to know that he was with her. He didn't care about her reputation or her feelings, like we said. But when Grace became pregnant, she hoped that this would change Chester's mind about their relationship and its severity. She was hoping that he would marry her. But Chester's feelings were far from true affection. In fact, he had already become infatuated with another woman, a fellow factory worker named Isabel. But it was not customary for a woman to become pregnant outside of marriage. I mean, in the days that you needed a chaperone to meet with a man, come on.
Right. Like, this is just she went through so many scandalous, like, little steps and stuff for him, and he just really did not care. He's just like, "Nope, don't
No,
care."
and this could have ended so differently, as we
Yeah.
will hear, but he didn't care. She was hoping, and being pregnant outside of a marriage is even more of a reputation ruiner. Grace went back to her family's farm to hide out, and she would write to Chester. And while she was hoping that the two of them would marry someday, it was becoming clear how much she missed Chester. And she was, of course, worried about the outcome of all of this. She's literally sitting in wait, worried about how she's going to go back into society. All of the chips are literally in his corner, which is fucked up, but
And she's worrying about how it's affecting him and not worrying about
yes,
herself. I'm just like,
I
wanna shake
know.
her and hug her at the same time.
I know.
Oh.
Maybe there'll be a necessary road trip at the end of this, but we got to rescue Grace, okay?
Mhm.
In the times, though, many women chose to end their own lives than have a baby out of wedlock. Like, they were literally treated like harlots of society,
Mm.
garbage. Not that they gave life to a child, but because of the circumstances, it was just unacceptable. And this was a less traumatizing outcome for many of these women, which is absolutely heartbreaking. But it just
Mhm.
goes to show the position of power that we're in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
On July 11th, 1906, Chester invited Grace to Big Moose Lake for a romantic getaway, and they would stay at the Hotel Glenmore. He used an alias, Carl Graham, when they checked in, and she used her own name. And the next day, he had arranged for the two of them to go have a little picnic, take a boat out on the lake. And in Grace's mind, she was thinking that there was a possibility he was going to propose to her.
Poor girl. I'm like, the name should have been a giveaway. Something sketchy was happening. Like, where's the red flag guy running through that we see on TikTok?
Right? Oh my god, I love that man.
Me
I
too.
love that man. He was necessary here, but
Mhm.
the boat trip began like any other. Grace and Chester began paddling across the calm waters, but as they ventured to a remote area of the lake, far away from prying eyes, and in fact the deepest part of the lake, Chester's true intentions came into focus. He began violently attacking Grace in the head with a tennis racket and a horn-handled umbrella, knocking her unconscious. He then proceeded to push her into the water, where he left her to drown. Now, there is some controversy here on what actually happened. All we have is the markings on Grace's body and the fact that she did drown. It is believed that she was likely deceased before she was in the water, and I do hope for that because the
Same.
alternative is awful.
Mhm.
Chester didn't make an effort to save her, he just watched as Grace struggled and then vanished beneath the water. Grace and Chester had rented this boat, so when they did not return by nightfall, the boat owner obviously became worried and went out to search for them. He came across the empty boat with Grace's jacket inside and then her body. Now, this is where things are unclear. I don't know how Chester made it back to the shore without the boat. If he swam to shore and went on the run, we're not sure. If he had
Mhm.
somebody come and meet him and take him to shore, it's 1906. We will likely never know, but
Right.
his intention was to go on the run. He called the Gillette factory and asked for an advance in his pay, which he was given, but he didn't get far.
Where are you going to go, my guy? Like, you are a quote important person. They're not going to just let you disappear. Like, you are going
Right?
to be found.
Eventually, for sure. It's
Right.
like, I'm just gonna go on an extended vacation. Don't worry about this
Mhm.
body of this woman that I worked with being found.
MBD.
Nothing to see
MBD.
here. He's an idiot. He's really an
Awful.
idiot. But it just goes to show that the ego of killers doesn't
Mhm.
change no matter what year it happens in. They think they're gonna get away with it.
For sure. They always think they're the smartest person in the whole
Yeah,
world. Yeah.
he's so smart. He went to a remote lake and used an alias to check in.
That's all he needed.
Yeah. And he would go further with his lies. After identifying Grace with her ID, they went to speak with her family and they confirmed that she was indeed with Chester Gillette that weekend. Immediately, investigators went to speak with him, and he tried to claim that he had no idea who Grace was. No idea.
Trash.
Thankfully, authorities didn't think much of his story, and he was immediately arrested. Grace's body was covered in bruises, although he did try to claim that she had tried to complete suicide, but evidence pointed directly to murder, and Chester was charged with first-degree murder.
In that story, I'm just like, so what? You're just being like, well, she said she wanted to kill herself, so I just let her and left.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
first, I don't know who she is at all.
Right. Freaking moron.
Exactly. So the trial that followed captivated the public because it's 1906 and they were bored, and Chester was ultimately convicted and sentenced to death. In 1908, he was executed by electric chair at Sing Sing prison, and his final words were, "I am innocent." And to that, we say we do not believe you.
No.
Grace's autopsy revealed that she was 4 months pregnant. For 4 months, she waited for this asshole to give her the life that she deserved. And instead, he was selfish and he took hers and their baby's life. But the story doesn't end here. The murder of Grace Brown and the mysterious nature of Chester's crime would linger in the air. And that is where the hauntings of our tale begin to grow. Since that tragic day, Big Moose Lake has become more than just a beautiful tourist destination. It's become a place of legend. The murder of Grace Brown was tragic enough on its own, but in the years that followed, strange occurrences may lead many to believe that the lake is haunted, and perhaps haunted by her. One of the most persistent legends surrounding the lake involves the sounds of a woman's voice, thought to be Grace's voice carried on the wind. Several visitors of the lake over the years have reported hearing cries for help echoing across the water, particularly on foggy mornings or moonlit nights. Which, can you imagine just like hearing somebody yelling for help at a lake and then trying to go find the source of it and finding nothing? Like, that would be so scary.
Oh my God, so terrifying. And like, I kind of looked at what this area looked like, and then I watched a clip from like the OG Unsolved Mysteries. And it's
Yes.
like, it's just so secluded and stuff. So it's like going out there and seeing nothing, or seeing, the 80s, 90s, whenever they made that ghost. I was like, oh, okay, we're looking a little haunted mansion with these graphics, but that's okay. But yeah, that's so terrifying because you're like, I know I would be in a panic being like, oh my God, like I have to go help this person. There's nobody here. And I don't know how far away help is, and then just nothing. That would make me want to never go there again. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It's very spooky. And like you said, it is so remote there, which probably in Chester's mind is what made him think he was going to get away with it. But
Mhm.
perhaps even more haunting, there has been stories of people seeing a mysterious figure near the water, often described as a lady in white, walking along the shore or staring out onto the lake. The figure has been reported by several hikers and boaters, and when they approach the woman, the ghostly figure will vanish into thin air, which, like, ugh.
Right. Oh
I've
my gosh.
never seen a true apparition of a ghost. I've seen shadow figures, but something
Mhm.
about like a realistic glowing apparition of this woman is just like extra unsettling, especially knowing how she died and just like ugh, I can just see her sorrow in my face. Like, you know what I
Right?
mean? Or in my
I
mind, not
know.
in my face.
And it's like it's so tragic either way, but it kind of sounds like she's more of a like an intelligent entity, and
Mhm.
that alone is just so sad because it's like she if she is, then she's aware that this has happened to her and everything. And then it's even more heartbreaking too if she was just like a residual having to like forever relive that time
Yeah.
or whatever, being confused. I just breaks my heart over a
I want
shitty
your
man.
opinion on that because
Mhm.
some paranormal investigators think that this is a stone tape theory situation. I'm not so convinced because of all of the different ways that she manifests herself. Like maybe the help me on the lake, if that was
Mhm.
just repeating itself, maybe. But
Yeah.
there's just so much that lends proof to her being stuck here. And that
Oh
makes
yeah.
me really sad.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because even just the couple encounters I looked up, they were all different how they saw her. So it definitely is an intelligent entity. And that's just, I, like I said, I don't know which would be more heartbreaking. They're both just so sad either way. But I definitely, just from my unprofessional opinion, I definitely think it is an intelligent entity, unfortunately.
Yeah. And people that have taken boats out onto the lake have said that in certain parts of Big Moose Lake, the boat motors will just inexplicably stall,
Oof.
leaving the boat stranded in the middle of the water. Some boaters have described feelings of extreme dread or like something is pushing them back to shore. Some paranormal investigators who have visited the lake believe that the strange occurrences are naturally tied to the death of Grace. They speculate that her spirit has never found peace and that she remains trapped in the waters where she was murdered. Others wonder if the spirit of Chester Gillette's ghost may be lingering at the lake, seeking redemption for his cruel actions. Or perhaps he is forever bound to the place where he committed such a heinous crime. I really hope he's not there.
I hope not. Since we know she's there, I hope he's away.
Definitely
So
not. Yeah, definitely not there.
please be at Sing Sing or something. Like,
Yes.
go over there.
Oh man. The spirits at Sing Sing, I tell you.
Insane.
Another commonly reported occurrence that happens is that lights will malfunction at the lake and at the Glenshire Hotel where Grace was last seen. It's very funny, and I believe that maybe she's like, I didn't live with power. So what are these lights doing on? Like, why are they on? And constantly turns them off.
Oh,
Can't
she's like
say I
trying to
blame
help
her.
people.
Yeah,
She's like,
she's like,
no.
oh, this isn't supposed to be happening. A lot of people that have reported seeing her spirit, though, have said that she does look like she's very sad and very lost, and hopefully someday she is able to find peace.
I hope
There
so.
is fully like displayed little like newspaper clippings and photos and the full story to do with Grace and Chester at the Big Moose Lake and at the hotel. One particularly creepy event that I read about was two best friends that had just stayed there. They were like hiking in the area and they saw her coming like towards them across the lake, like she was walking on
Oh
water,
my God.
and
Uh-huh.
they saw her and then she disappeared and they didn't know of the story at all. And the one girl said that when they saw her picture in the lobby, they were like, holy shit, like that was the same lady. Oh my goodness, like this is so scary.
Wow.
So Big Moose Lake will forever remain a place of mystery and sorrow where the past continues to echo across the water. If you ever find yourself here and take a visit to the lake, remember that the stories are as much of the landscape as the trees and the mountains. And who knows, you may just hear a cry for help or see a flicker of Grace Brown. And hopefully, like we've said, she'll find her peace in the afterlife one day. And if anybody else has watched the original Unsolved Mysteries on this episode, please let me know because it's classic. It's
Yes,
a
it's so
classic.
good.
I
So good. It's
didn't
on
know that
YouTube.
it existed until I started doing the research for it, and I was like, "Oh, no way." Because when you think of an unsolved mystery, you think of the murder side, and it's very clearly solved, but this is
Mhm.
more focused on the paranormal side, which I love that Unsolved Mysteries does, so
Yeah, I know. I love that because it when I remember when I watched it, it had like I think it was like a little title screen and it was like the unexplained. And I'm like, I love
yeah.
this.
Where do I can hear the music, where do I sign?
Right?
The new Unsolved Mysteries just did, a special on Mothman, like, revisiting Mothman sightings,
I
and
need
I'm
to
like,
watch that.
"What?"
What do you hear?
Yeah, like, what how did I end up in this decade where this is what's being explored? Yes, please.
I know, and I feel like in the early reboot seasons, I think they did Aliens at least one episode too, so
For
I
sure.
love that. I love that they've
Yeah,
kind of broadened what they cover.
right? And it is no mystery as to why Grace is probably still stuck here, so I
Yeah.
hope that you enjoyed the story and that it wasn't too sad and that it fits both your paranormal and your true crime cups, and, thank you again for coming on to listen to the story and
Yeah.
weigh in on the, ultimate fuckboy that is Chester Gillette.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
And before you go again, Tara, please tell the people where they can find you and your show and anything exciting that you and Jess have coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So both shows, Three Spooked Girls and Social Seance Society, were available anywhere you get your podcasts and on YouTube. You can find the show's Instagram and all of that good stuff with the handle at Three Spooked Girls. And then my handle on Instagram and TikTok is spooky_sleuth. I kind of do some short form stuff every so often, but running two podcasts, it's usually very podcast focused, but still we get some headlines and stuff. So yeah, that's where you can find me and all of my creative stuff.
I love it. As always, remember that you are wanted, you are loved, and you deserve to be here. And I will see you guys next week for a brand new episode. Truly Twisted is a proud production of Fire Eyes Media, a woman owned and operated network. This show is hosted, researched, and edited by me, Alecia Watson. And I would love if you would email me any case suggestions or comments you may have at alicia@fireeyesmedia.com.
Fire Eyes Media.